Good afternoon. Today we're going to be talking about a program called Google Calendar. It's an application that allows us to communicate about if and when you're going to be coming to an extra help session, although you can use the calendar function for a whole host of other things to help organize your life, to communicate with other people that you're working with. But we'll start with the example of just how you're going to sign up for extra help in my class. So, because it's a Google application, it's actually going to run through your Google account. You have to log in first through your email. So, we're going to access our email like we always do. We're going to click the login button from Berkshire's webpage. You're going to enter in your information, your username and password, and then click and find the link to access Gmail, which is your email account for Berkshire School. So we click on Gmail, and right away we're going to look for the calendar tab at the top. You can also access Google Docs through here. If you've seen the other YouTube clip I've created so far, there's information about how you can use Google Docs. Sites is a website building program, also really helpful, and there's a whole lot of other things that Google offers, but right now we're going to concern ourselves with Google Calendar, so we're going to click on that. Once you've done that, it's going to open up to Google Calendar. There's a whole lot of things going on right away, but to simplify it, you can see that right here is a way that you can organize the main viewing area. And right now it's set on the week view, so you can see across the top Monday through Sunday. You can actually, within this little gear here, if you click on calendar settings, you can reset it to organize and start at whatever day you want. With most of my calendars, I've got them starting on Monday. Yours might actually start on Sunday and then on Saturday. It's really up to you. But for now, you can also just notice this tab across the top. You don't want to just view the week. You can look at the whole month. And what do you know? I've got lots of things going on in September. And this is just my calendar. To orient yourself a little bit more, if you look on the left side, there's a whole host of other things that are here. Other people have shared calendars with me, so if I want to know what's going on, my wife Jackie, who's the dorm parent in Godman, if I want to find out who's on duty, well, that automatically throws other things on top of my existing calendar, and I can see that she's on duty during a closed weekend. I can actually throw in U.S. holidays. You can put the weather in. Lots of things that you can do. And I mentioned that these are shared calendars. We'll talk a bit about how that works in a minute. For now, I'm going to try to clear this up just a touch and give you an example. So your page, because we clicked on the month view, might look very blank because maybe nobody's shared a calendar with you. Maybe you haven't created any of the events that you need to schedule for yourself. It might look a little bit different. To give you a sense of that, I'm going to log out of this piece and log into another calendar with a different Google account of mine. This might be more of what your page looks like. Notice that I've made sure that the tab for the month is clicked on, and it's a fairly blank slate. Nobody seemed to have shared a lot of information with me, although I do see the extra help buttons here. And that's where we're going to start with. The extra help works basically like this. At 7:25 in the morning, every day of the week except Sundays, you can come by Berkshire Hall, room 20 in the science wing where we have our biology classes, and you can stop in. What I'd like to have students do is to click and reply if they are planning on coming to the extra help. If you choose not to come at any given day, and I imagine more days you won't come than you will, you don't have to do a thing. You don't have to log on to your email account. You don't have to click the calendars, and you certainly don't have to do anything we're about to say here. All I want you to use Google Calendar for is to tell me when you are coming to extra help. And to do that, all you have to do is go to your calendar function like we've done already and click on the day you have in mind. So maybe you had a rough day on Tuesday, there's some information we covered, and you want to review it. So Wednesday morning, the following morning, you're going to click on that day and you're going to notice that a few things come up. Well, I've already told you that we're holding it in room 20. That's the lower level in the science wing where our bio classes are. And you can see that the 7:25 start time is set up there. They usually run for about 25 minutes. If you're done earlier, you don't have to stay till 7:50 if you just have one question. You can even come later towards 7:50 if you choose to come at 7:45, and that's fine. All I need you to do is click yes that you are coming, and once that's done, you're going to send me a message that somebody's coming on Wednesday the 14th, and I'll know that in advance. As long as you can tell me, say sometime before 8 p.m., the night before the study session has to happen, that's going to help me a lot because If you reply at midnight, I might not get that message in time when I get up to try to make sure I'm there. You might just be walking in that morning to an empty classroom. So do as best you can to get me the information in advance. One other feature, if you know exactly what you need help with, and most of the time if you're organized, you will have a clue, you can click back on these details. You notice that it's already clicked yes. If you change your mind, you can click no. Try not to click maybe, that doesn't really help me. If you click more details and you're sure that you're coming, one of the things you can do at the top here is click to add a note. And when you do that, you might be able to type in something like you need help. But what do you need help with? Maybe it's the lab report. If you've done that and you click save, I'm going to be able to get that message. And now I'll know going in at 7:25 that you don't just are coming for extra help, that you're not just coming for extra help, but that you're coming to talk about the lab report. So I might be able to have more information on hand to better help you get through that material. We don't have a lot of time here, so try to organize yourself, try to be as efficient as you can, and just this reply feature can help us get to work and get better work done faster. Well, that's one way you can go about replying to things. I wanted to take a minute to just show you how you might use Google Calendar to create an event of your own. Imagine you've got a project that's going to be done as a group project in your ancient world history class. If it turns out that you need to start just brainstorming ideas, and it's the very first day your group's going to get together, but this is outside of class hours, imagine it's going to be in October. Well, I can only go on October 1st, so how do I flip to the next part of the screen? Well, if you click up here and you notice that it will, by the month view, click to the next month, that can let you toggle back and forth between the months. Imagine that your first project isn't due until the 21st, but you're going to start probably a couple of weeks earlier. So let's say it's October 3rd that you want to get the gang together and start brainstorming ideas for this ancient world history project. You're going to click on the day and you're going to type in whatever it is that you want to share with other people. Ancient World History Project. Well, I'm going to edit the event first of all. And although I have the title of the event here, it's not going to occur the entire day. So you uncheck the all day item and figure out when it is you're going to be able to meet with your friends. If it's a Monday during class, probably isn't going to work. Maybe you have a common free period, but you can scroll down and find a time that you think is going to work. So why don't we pick 7 o'clock as a good starting point. Now by default, it just changed it here to 8 o'clock, and that might not work within your time frame. The nice thing about using this is you don't have to select these half-hour chunks. You can edit right in there and say, I really only want to meet for 45 minutes, so I'm going to go in and type in 7 to 7:45. Then that's set. That's the day of the week we've already selected. Where are we going to do this? Maybe we can do this in the library, and we'll just mention that we're going to do this towards the front so we don't have to get lost when we're trying to find each other. A little bit of the description, just brainstorming ideas about upcoming projects. It helps people that are going to be involved in this project know what we're doing at this meeting specifically. You'll notice over on the right that we're going to be adding guests. That's really the power with this. It's not just that you can help organize your own life, and you don't have to invite guests. You can use Calendar just to tell yourself where you need to be and help stay organized. But a very powerful piece with this is that you can share your calendar with other people. You can send them invitations, and it helps everybody in group projects stay on the same page, know what the timeline is. It's a very simple tool for that. To do that, you just need to find out who it is you're working with. Once you know their email address, you can search for it or just type it in directly. So say, for example, I knew that I was going to try to do this project with my wife. I'm going to find Jacqueline's name, J-O, there she is. Well, that's an old address. Let's try Jackie over, there's her personal email address, and we can type and enter that in. So there, she's a guest that's been added. And that's all we need. Right below it, you can see there's a few other options. If you want your partner or group members to be able to modify what's happening on the calendar, you can check that box. But typically, if you're just looking for them to make sure they can come on time, you can leave it unchecked. If you want other people you're not sure if they're going to be able to come, or if there's other people you don't even know who might be invited by the guests that you've invited, you can check that box. But typically, again, if you just want the people that you're asking to come, you can uncheck invite others. If you want them to see who is going to be involved in this project, leave this checked. That means is that Jackie's going to know that the both of us are working. If you have 5 or 6 people on a project, everybody that you've invited will know who everybody else is that's coming to that meeting. If you don't want them to know, if you wanted a surprise, you can uncheck this, and that will stay as your guest list since you're the owner of this, but nobody else will know who's coming, just that you've invited them and that they're supposed to come. So they won't know who else is there if you want to have sort of a surprise for something. We're going to let everybody see the guest list, but it doesn't really matter since it's just Jackie and I in this one. One other thing on the left side, if you want to edit sort of the color that this event looks like, if you want to have reminders, if you have a mobile device that has access to the internet, and you can give yourself an email 10 minutes out before the event so you don't forget about it. You can change the minutes to hours to days. You can change the time limit. You can have it as a pop-up. You can have it as an email, whatever you like. You have lots of options to change things. The last thing is to just sort of on your calendar show that during this time I'm going to be busy, not available, and the privacy by default is just only going to be shared with people that are on this email chain. So once all that information is entered, once you've got your guests added, once you've got your time and your place and everything set, you click save, and with that information you've got this pop-up saying, do you want to send invitations to your guests? What that means is, do you want to send all the guests that you've invited an email saying they've been invited? And that's really it. They will now have access to this calendar as long as they have a Google account. And everybody at Berkshire School has a Google account, so as long as you're inviting somebody from the school, they won't have a problem accessing this information. So we can either send them the invitation. If you choose not to send them the invitation, it doesn't mean they can't see the calendar that you're sharing with them. All it means is you would have to tell them in person that they have access to the calendar. But the email is a pretty quick way for them to access it. It gives them a link to get to the calendar directly, so I tend to opt for sending that. Right away, you see in my calendar in October 3rd, that event's been created. If I need to make changes later, all I do is click on it and edit the event. If, for example, the time has changed, 7's not going to work anymore, we need to start 15 minutes later, I can enter that data in. I'm not going to change the end time. Everything else seems okay. It's still the same guests. I can add guests later if we need to. I'm just going to save that one more time, and you notice again a pop-up. All this is going to do is email the same people you've emailed initially, letting them know that a change has occurred. With that, you've got an event created. If I went to Jackie's email, I could show you what's going on her end, but ultimately it's just going to look like somebody sent an email to her saying that she's been invited to this event, 7:15 p.m., Ancient World History Project on October 3rd. So there you have it, a very basic, bare bones edition of how you can use Google Calendar. I hope you like it. As always, email me or see me in class if you have any questions.